There was a certain challenge floating around Facebook a while back. It was called the 10-Year Challenge. And the premise of the 10-Year Challenge was this. You were supposed to take your Facebook profile picture from 10 years ago and compare it side by side to your current Facebook profile picture and see how much you've changed over the last decade. Well, today I'm going to resurrect that challenge. Are you ready? Here is my 10-year challenge. Well, there it is. Now, I didn't promise it was going to be pretty, but nonetheless, it's pretty obvious to see that in 10 years, a lot of things have changed. In that picture from 10 years ago, I didn't have any facial hair. I did have a girlfriend, as you could see. And 10 years ago, I was just 20 years old, with not a whole lot of responsibilities outside of my schoolwork and my part-time job. Now, fast forward 10 years later, and a lot of things have changed. Now I got some facial hair going on. I'll admit I'm a little heavier now. But that girl in that picture is no longer my girlfriend, but now she's my wife. And we've been married for 7.5 awesome years. Now I'm 30 years old. I'm a full-time pastor with a lot of responsibilities. And I'm also the father of 2 very energetic boys. Like I said, a lot has changed in the last 10 years. Now, why do people participate in things like the 10-Year Challenge? Well, I think it's because people like to reminisce. People like to see how much they've changed. Well, the Bible does something very, very similar. The Bible likes to take a look at our past and then takes a look at our present. We have an example of that in Ephesians chapter 2. At the very beginning of Ephesians chapter 2, the Apostle Paul says this. He says, "As for you, you were dead in your transgressions and sins." Completely spiritually dead, unmoving, lifeless, helpless, hopeless, and completely incapable of pleasing God. And as a result, we should have been doomed to an eternity in hell. Like I said, our past is not looking too good. But God took our miserable past and has made our present so much better. If you fast forward a little bit in Ephesians chapter 2, Paul writes this, "But because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive in Christ, even when we were dead in transgressions." So you see, God took us who were once spiritually dead and has made us spiritually alive. How did he do that? Well, he did it through his means of grace. He did it through word and sacrament. And through those means of grace, God creates and strengthens faith in our hearts, and he prepares us for an eternity in heaven. So our past looked terrible, but our present is great, and our future is that much better. Because we know that because we have forgiveness of sins through Jesus, we are going to heaven. And there we will live forever. And so that's kind of God's, what I'll call, eternity challenge. He has changed our past completely and has made our present and future so much better. Why did he do this? Paul tells us, "It is by grace you have been saved." Because of our past, we don't deserve to have God's love, and yet we have it. We have God's love, we have God's forgiveness, and we have an eternity of happiness that awaits us one day. God's eternity challenge is certainly worth it. And I am so glad that we have heaven awaiting us. If this devotion has been a blessing to you, please like and share with others. God's blessings to you all.